What if there's infinite timelines where every idea and possibility is played out? And what if you could just shift your consciousness between them by changing what you focus on? If all possibilities exist, then there's a timeline where you're living your dream. So, how do you shift into that timeline? Have you ever heard about a celebrity dying that you thought was already dead? Or found out that one was still alive that you thought died years ago? Is that because you switched into a slightly different timeline without realizing? Or what about when people remember things differently, like brand logos or the spelling of TV shows? Is that just two slightly different timelines that merge together? If we're in a simulation, then are different timelines just different versions of the simulation? Like we're in some kind of place where every possibility is tested out and everything that can exist will exist, but just in different versions or timelines. How do you know if you're in the exact same timeline or version of the simulation as someone that you know? What if all the timelines are constantly intersecting and overlapping each other like some complex road system? And you could meet up with people who aren't on your exact timeline. Like if someone sees the world as an evil place with nothing good happening, will that be their experience? While somebody else who only sees the good in the world will only experience and see evidence of good. All while both of them could meet up, go to the same places, and have mutual experiences, but their actual timelines are completely different. Do we just merge into different realities depending on what we focus on? What if other people can experience worldwide events differently from you while still being in your reality? Have you ever noticed how contradicting reality seems to be lately? There's so much opposing evidence for things. If you search the internet, is meat good for you? Then yes, it is. Here's all the reasons. But if you search the internet, is meat bad for you? Then yes, it is. Here's all the reasons. You can do this with anything, any kind of conspiracy theory or world event. If you want to believe the world's ending, you just have to look up the how and why, and you can find out about something like climate change, or AI using up all the water, or some new diseases. If you start believing the earth is flat, then you'll start seeing evidence everywhere and it'll feel so obvious. Think aliens are real? Then you're going to end up in a timeline where there's government cover ups and alien mystery stories. It's like all these timelines are intersecting and existing on top of each other, and they're held together by shared spaces like the internet. And you can just pick and choose which one you want to live in by what you believe and what you focus on. So if you don't like your current reality, you can just shift timelines by changing what you do, how you think, and what you believe. The easiest way to shift timelines is by doing things you've never done before to break the loop or pattern that you live in. Things like quitting your job or moving to a new state or country will make you shift timelines instantly. What can you do to break your patterns and start to shift into who you want to be? What kinds of things would the you in the timeline you want to be in be doing? Apply for a new job, start a business, post a video, talk to someone new. Every decision that you make has the potential to move you into a new timeline. Start making your choices with the intention to move into the timeline that you want to be in. Doing a big shift all at once can be overwhelming and harder to believe, but little changes can help pull you into the new timeline. Simple things like reading a book, waking up earlier, starting to exercise can all help you get the ball rolling with the vibrational change you need to switch. Maybe the you in the timeline that you're currently in doesn't exercise, but the you in the timeline that you want to be in does. So when you start doing something small or simple that you've never done before, it can help pull you out of your current timeline and into the new one. And when you combine multiple new things that you've never done before, they can work like a domino effect to change everything else and get you into the reality that you want to be in. If you want to shift into a completely new timeline that's extremely different from the one that you're in, like one where you're a millionaire, it can be hard to imagine or shift that much at one time. But if you break it down to pieces and take it one step at a time, you can slowly shift into where you want to be, and it won't feel as extreme. Instead of trying to shift into some far off timeline where you make $1 million, try shifting into one where you make an extra $1,000, then one where you make an extra 10,000, and then an extra 100,000. Jumping into that timeline where you start making an extra $1,000 is a lot more believable than jumping into one where you make 1 million. But once you get used to being in that timeline where you make an extra 1,000, it'll be a smaller shift into the timeline where you make an extra 10,000, and then you just keep going. There's no limits, and you can skip as many steps as you want, but if you're having trouble imagining a bigger jump and it feels too far away from you, then just turn it into a few smaller jumps that feel believable. One of the fastest ways that you can switch timelines is by creating a new version of yourself that can't exist in your current timeline. Change all your day to day habits, change your appearance, Start doing things the old version of yourself wouldn't be doing. Create an alter ego of who you want to be and live as that person. Maybe the old you couldn't do what you want to do, but the new version of yourself can do it. So many famous people do this and snap into their new life almost instantly. Think about how many musicians are using a stage name. There's almost no rappers using their real name. They create a new version of themselves and left the old behind. They created someone who could be who they wanted to be. Go reimagine yourself. What would the you in the timeline that you want to be in act like? What kinds of day to day things would that version of yourself be doing or even not doing? Do you have bad habits that the best version of yourself wouldn't have? You need to be doing what the person that you want to be would be doing to be in the timeline that person would be in. Go do something to break the loop and get out of whatever timeline you're stuck in and start shifting into the one where you're living your dream.